On the company's anniversary, I was looking forward to my husband making our relationship public. He left me aside, hugged his secretary's waist affectionately and laughed at her. The employees started asking him what his relationship with his secretary was, and my husband smiled and said, "Ivy was my first love, and now she is my secretary. What do you think should be the next step? Upgrade to the boss lady. Give me a kiss." The boss and the boss lady give me a kiss. Ivy lovingly and kissed her passionately. I watched all this like a fool, my heart completely broken. Wow, Mr. Sheen and Ivy are really good at hiding their secrets. No one knew they were a couple for all these years. What a pity. Mr. Sheen, the rich bachelor, is already taken. It's not my turn. I thought Vice President Lin and President Sheen were secretly married, but I didn't expect President Sheen was still thinking about his first love. I stood on the stage, looked at the enthusiasm and excitement of the audience, and left in embarrassment. Retreating to a corner, I took a big sip of red wine, and cold tears flowed down. To Arlo Quin for 10 years, and I have been the company's vice president for 10 years, but no one has ever known about our relationship, except for a few old employees. No one even knows that Cheens was founded by Arlo Quin and I. He said that Cheens is now a big company after all, so it would be strange for people to know that it is just a husband and wife business. He also said that if the employees knew that you were my wife, some things at work would inevitably be difficult to handle. But as soon as the company stabilized, he recruited his first love, Ivy, and the two of them spent every day together as a couple. I reminded them that this would have a bad influence and would lead to criticism. But what did he say? He said, "Ivy is my secretary. We are all here for work. Don't be so petty." He also said, "Ivy and I are of the right mind and have nothing to fear, so don't listen to what others say." After 10 years of marriage, I chose to believe him regardless of the rumors outside. Ivy to the position of boss lady in front of more than 100 people, and even kissed her passionately. What's going on? After wiping the tears from my face, I stood up and was about to walk out, but I didn't expect that bitch Ivy would not let me go. She looked towards me triumphantly, and shouted at me with a smile, "Vice President Lin, the anniversary celebration has just reached its climax. How can you leave? President Sheen is still waiting for you to play games together." Ivy said this. Everyone in the audience looked at me, so I had no choice but to turn around and go on stage again. I stood awkwardly next to Ivy, as if she was the newly acknowledged wife and I was the mistress. Ivy looked at me provocatively, with an undisguised arrogance on her face. Just now everyone was saying that I should be promoted to the boss lady. Vice President Lin, what do you think about this? I sneered and spoke sarcastically. The man is in heat, the woman is horny, and they are about to mate as soon as they lift their legs. What can I do? I can't bear to watch. When I said this, not only did Ivy blush with embarrassment, but all the employees present were stunned. Arlo Quin's face turned dark in an instant, and the veins on his face bulged. Saoirse Lin, how can you say such nasty words? It's really too much. Is it unpleasant to hear? I think compared to the dirty things some people do, my words are like the sound of nature. After saying that, I took off the wedding ring on my hand and threw it hard on Arlo Quin's face. "I'm going to give you back this worthless piece of junk." I rushed off the stage and walked out regardless of anything, followed by a burst of sighs. What's going on? Vice President Lin threw a ring at President Sheen's face. What's the relationship between these two people? Oh my god, could it be that Vice President Lin is really President Sheen's secret wife? Then wouldn't Ivy be a mistress? Ivy is so shameless. She knows that Mr. Sheen has a wife but she still sticks to him every day. How shameless. Amid the discussions of the crowd, I walked out of the venue alone and came to the street. It was the coldest time in northern Beijing on New Year's Eve. I was wearing only a thin dress and shivering as I walked on the street, but the coldness in my heart had already made me numb, and I just walked aimlessly. More than an hour later, I returned home with my feet in high heels rubbed bloody. As soon as I entered the door, a slap hit my numb face from the cold. Saoirse Lin, you are really sick. In front of the whole company, you really want to embarrass Ivy and me. I was stunned for a moment, and when I came to my senses, I slapped him back without any hesitation. You're not sick. You're not sick. Why are you, a married man, flirting with a secretary in public? Arlo Quin was slightly sobered up by my slap. He lit a cigarette and smoked it hard. The silence in the air was a little scary. I took a deep breath and broke the silence. Arlo Quin, divorce me. I will make it happen for you. Arlo Quin's hand holding the cigarette suddenly paused, with an incredible look on his face. Ivy on stage and was teased by the staff. Saoirse Lin, can you stop being so funny? It was just a game. Oh, really? In a game, a married man can kiss another woman in front of his wife. So if someone instigates you to sleep with them on the spot, would you do it too? Arlo Quin fiercely extinguished the cigarette in his hand, staring at me coldly with a hint of mockery in the corner of his eyes. Are you blaming me for not making our relationship public? Why do you have to care about this? We have a marriage certificate, so what does it matter whether it's public or not? You're already in your 30s, and you're still so childish. Arlo Quin's mocking eyes once again pierced my heart. Which woman doesn't care about her status? Which woman is willing to be a lover who can't see the light of day forever? To Arlo Quin for 10 years and also attended the company's 10th anniversary celebration. Every year I would mention it and make public my identity as the legal wife. The reason is simply that there are always rumors in the company that I am Arlo Quin's secret lover. After all, as a couple in real life, it is inevitable that we will have some interactions. For example, I occasionally took his car to go to work together and was hit by someone. Or maybe someone saw me taking his car back to the same community after get off work. Faced with such rumors, making the relationship public was the most powerful protection for me. But how did he do it? Not only did he not agree to make our relationship public, he also drew a line between me and no longer allowed me to ride in his car to and from get off work. Normally, we try to reduce unnecessary contact as much as possible in the company to create a normal relationship between colleagues. He avoids suspicion towards me in every way, but towards Ivy, he is afraid that others don't know that they are lovers. It's really funny. This time, the annual meeting of the company's 10th anniversary is also our 10th wedding anniversary. It was he who took the initiative to tell me that it had not been easy for us to be together for 10 years and that we wanted to make our relationship public. But once we got there, he hugged and kissed Ivy passionately in public, leaving me alone. What happened to your foot? Arlo Quin finally noticed my feet that were bleeding from being rubbed. I sneered but said nothing. 10 years have passed, and he seems to have forgotten that I, a girl from a wealthy family, fell in love with a poor boy like him despite my parents' opposition. In order to marry him, I broke off relations with my family and invested my 1 million savings in helping him start a company. In the early days of his business, he even drank with clients until he had stomach bleeding, just to get a big order. Later, my father couldn't stand it anymore and secretly gave me a few big clients, which got the company running, but he was afraid that I would steal his limelight in the company, so he suppressed and restricted me everywhere, and not only became the boss himself, he has always told the public that the company was started by him alone, and billed himself as a young entrepreneur who started his own business from scratch. Fortunately, I didn't do anything completely stupid back then. When I injected capital, I made myself the major shareholder of the company. Otherwise, I would have been kicked out of the company by him long ago. In the second year after the company was founded, he recruited Ivy to be his secretary, and at that time he concealed the fact that Ivy was his first love. But after all these years, what else has Ivy done in the company besides serving him tea and water, typing documents, and following him around? The little girl is not stupid. She has been holding back on wanting to get to the top from the beginning. However, I am a major shareholder of the company, so these two people dare not act recklessly. Seeing that I didn't say anything, Arlo Quin spoke again in a hypocritical manner. Why did you deliberately make things difficult for yourself? If you didn't have a car, you could have just taken a taxi. Why did you have to walk home? As he said this, I noticed a bright lipstick mark on the collar of his shirt. He took out the ring from his pocket that I had thrown in his face at the anniversary party, put it on. It's not a big deal for a couple to have a quarrel. It's unnecessary to get a divorce because of this. I pushed the ring back in disgust and went upstairs. Soon, the sound of a door being slammed came from downstairs, followed by the sound of a car engine. Half an hour later, I saw Ivy posted a message on WeChat Moments. Some people don't even want such an expensive ring. It's okay, I don't mind. The accompanying picture is a photo of Ivy wearing the ring I threw away, and smiling proudly. I posted a comment below. Picking up the junk that others don't want is your style. As soon as I sent my comment, Arlo Quin called me. Saoirse Lin, you are sick. Ivy was just wearing it for fun as a joke. How could you make such a vicious comment? Oh, so what? You're running to her house in the middle of the night to give her our wedding ring to play with. Are you going to have sex with her later? There was a moment of silence in the microphone, but then Ivy's aggrieved voice was heard. Brother Arlo, I am not worthy of it. I will never dare to play such a joke with you again. Okay Ivy, it's just a ring. I'll buy you a better one tomorrow. After coaxing Ivy, Arlo Quin realized that he had not hung up the phone with me. and he said something into the microphone. Ivy has a stomachache. As a boss, I have to take care of her. Don't think too much about it. I miss your mother's head. All the scumbags and bitches. Go to hell. I hung up the phone directly. Ivy knew about my relationship with Arlo Quin, but she pretended not to know every day in the company to disgust me. Today is the 10th anniversary of my marriage to Arlo Quin, but he forgot all about it and went to accompany Ivy, having endured for so many years. I will not deceive myself anymore. The next morning, when I arrived at the company, I directly wrote out a divorce agreement and threw it on Arlo Quin's desk. Sign it, and you'll be out of this house. Arlo Quin was stunned for a moment, glared at me, and a hint of anger appeared on his face. Why are you so mad so early in the morning? Are you blaming me for not preparing a gift for you yesterday? Here, I'll make it up to you today. He took out a jewelry box from the drawer and threw it on the table expressionlessly. The box was smashed open and a dazzling diamond necklace fell onto the table. I could tell at a glance that it was the one Ivy wore at the anniversary celebration last night. I laughed. Boss Gene is so rich, but he still can't change his nature of being a poor and stingy man. You gave me the second-hand stuff that your secretary used. Arlo Quin was furious when I exposed his dirty inner self. Saoirse Lin, do you believe I will fire you if you continue to act like that? I laughed out loud and pretended to be frightened. Huh, President Gene wants to fire the company's major shareholder. I'm so scared, but I don't know if you can fire him. Oh, by the way, I was just about to tell you that since Ivy has not made any contribution to the company in the 9 years since she joined, I plan to fire her. Arlo Quin slammed the table. You dare? Don't tell me. I really dare to do it. I don't believe it. As a vice president, I don't even have the qualifications to fire a secretary. At this moment, a figure flashed and Ivy suddenly walked in. She looked at Arlo Quin aggrievedly. I'm sorry, President Gene. It's all my fault. I caused you and Vice President Lin to misunderstand me. She doesn't need to fire me. I'll just leave on my own. In front of Ivy, Arlo Quin immediately acted like a CEO and gave me a cold look. Who said I want to fire you? I still have the final say in this company. Also, some people say that you haven't achieved anything in the company for many years. I just want to promote another vice president. Ivy, starting today, I will promote you to vice president and be in charge of the marketing department. Ivy looked at Arlo Quin in pretended surprise, then looked at me with smugness in her eyes. Ah, this is not good, Mr. Gene. Wouldn't that mean I am on the same level as Vice President Lin, and we are both in charge of the marketing department, so who will take the lead? I really didn't expect that at this time. Arlo Quin still wanted to use the title of a crappy president to suppress and control me. It's as if I, the daughter of the Lin Group, really want a job in this small company. Ivy with mockery in my eyes, then looked at Arlo Quin. Of course it is Vice President Lee, President Gene's favorite. Who will take the lead? Am I understanding correctly? President Gene, Vice President Lin, you have been leading the marketing department for so many years, and your thinking has become a bit rigid. There is nothing wrong with letting Ivy change her approach. My mouth is almost crooked from smiling. If I hadn't led the marketing department for so many years, would Gene's have been able to achieve such good results? Let's change Ivy, right? Okay, I'll wait and see how she brings down the company tomorrow. On that day, Ivy arrogantly asked me to take over the work for her. She wanted all the customer information and data reports, and I gave them all to her without reservation. It's really funny. If I can do a good job just by looking at the information, then wouldn't I have worked in vain for the past 10 years? I know what Arlo Quin is thinking. He said he would promote Ivy to vice president so that she can support the marketing department with me. He just wants his secretary to sideline me. Go ahead and do it. In a few days, your company will be empty. In the past 10 years, it is rare that I have such free time as today. I read novels all day and went home directly from work at the appointed time. The next day, when I just arrived at the company gate, I saw a large group of people blocking the door and making a lot of noise. We're going to talk to Vice President Lin. Yesterday, Ivy's contract negotiation was a mess. Is there no one else available in your company? Ivy can't even understand a marketing plan. You hired such a loser as the vice president. Can't you afford to hire someone else? To let a junior secretary be the vice president? Is your boss Gene a moron? We don't want this cooperation anymore. Let's terminate the contract. I walked over leisurely and saw Arlo Quin and Ivy being blocked at the door by a group of people, and they were almost drowned by their saliva. Arlo Quin wiped the saliva off his face and spoke to the customer, with an apologetic look in his eyes. Everyone calm down first. Vice President Lee has just been promoted and is indeed not very proficient in the business. Please be more tolerant. I can guarantee that the conditions of our cooperation will not change. Arlo Quin, you are also a businessman. Would you negotiate business with a pig who knows nothing? Stop fooling us. Ivy huddled and hid behind Arlo Quin, her face flushed from being scolded, and she smiled cautiously. Everyone, I'm really sorry. Vice President Lin had other arrangements, so I took over in a hurry. I'm not as familiar with the business as Vice President Lin now, but I can learn. Learn nothing from your mother. If I delay for a minute, I will lose a lot of money. If Vice President Lin doesn't want to be replaced, I will just cooperate with others. I stood at the door with my hands folded on my shoulders, watching the show coldly. Finally, a customer saw me and his eyes immediately lit up. Vice President Lin. Vice President Lin is here. Let's continue talking to Vice President Lin. I sighed in mock helplessness. Everyone, I'm really sorry. Yesterday, President Chin asked Vice President Lee to take full charge of the marketing department. I can't do anything about it. I raised my eyebrows and looked at Arlo Quin with a smile. I'm afraid this is not appropriate. President Chin will be unhappy. How about President Chin personally receive him? Arlo Quin's face suddenly darkened. In fact, Arlo Quin has never been good at marketing. He studied technology and was mainly responsible for back-end development. From the very beginning of his business, he knew almost nothing about marketing and was not much better than Ivy. Arlo Quin hesitated in embarrassment, unable to bring himself to restore my rights, yet unwilling to embarrass himself in front of the secretary. Anyway, I'm not in a hurry. Arlo Quin, this e-commerce company, only makes tens of millions in profit a year, compared with the billions of dollars in annual revenue of my Lin Group. This little profit is really not worth mentioning. Even if Chin's goes bankrupt, I will go home and inherit Lin's billions of family assets, and I won't feel the slightest bit of pain. If I hadn't been so in love that I wanted to be with Arlo Chin, a poor boy, I also have to help him have a successful career. I really don't want to be the vice president of this small company. Seeing Arlo Quin hesitating, the customers became anxious. Arlo Quin, you are fucking sick. You don't want Saoirse Lin to talk to me, right? Fine. Then I'll find another company to cooperate with. Arlo Quin, Ivy can't do it. Saoirse Lin is irresponsible again. If you want to do it, just say something and don't waste everyone's time. What a bullshit. What kind of person can be the vice president? I won't cooperate with you anymore. Seeing dozens of old customers about to leave, Arlo Quin was really anxious and he yelled loudly, everyone, please be patient. I will let Vice President Lin receive you now, and you just need to continue talking to her. After hearing this, the customers stopped and their attitude softened a little. Oh, why didn't you say it earlier? You wasted so much of everyone's time. Arlo Quin looked at me, who was still standing at the door with my shoulders folded, and winked at me frantically. Vice President Lin, what are you doing standing there? Why don't you take the client to the office to discuss matters? I raised an eyebrow. Since President Chin still wants me to be in charge of the marketing department, what about Ivy? I don't want to take over someone else's authority without knowing the reason. Arlo Quin gritted his teeth and glared at Ivy hatefully. Ivy is more suitable to be my secretary. From now on, you will be in charge of the job of vice president of marketing. I smiled triumphantly, glared at Ivy and Arlo Quin, and sneered. If I had known this would happen, why would I have done it in the first place? It's just like taking off your pants to fart. What a waste of time. I brought all the clients into the office, and solved the problems of dozens of old clients in just one morning. But even so, after seeing the work schedule of the marketing department, I found that in the day that Ivy took over yesterday, they still lost dozens of old customers, and turned away more than a dozen new customers. Ivy would have been fired 100 times, and she would even be held responsible for the losses caused to the company. But Arlo Quin just let her go back to being a secretary, and no longer interfere with my marketing department. During lunch, Arlo Quin came to me, and he even brought Ivy with him. Saoirse Lin, I'm afraid there is some misunderstanding between the three of us. Let's have lunch together at noon so we can talk it over. Sorry, I don't have the habit of eating with random people. Ivy not hear that I was talking about her. She glanced at me proudly and said in a sarcastic tone, oh, Vice President Lin, you seem to dislike me. This is what President Chin meant. Otherwise, I would not be able to bother Vice President Lin. Right. After all, Vice President Lin holds a high position in the company, and has strong business capabilities. He is not someone a small fry like me can afford to offend. Arlo Quin without hesitation. Boss Chin, I don't think there's anything to discuss with you. Sign the divorce agreement as soon as possible. Your mistress can't wait. I asked you out for dinner with all my heart. Why are you talking about divorce? I don't agree. After saying that, Arlo Quin walked out with a cold face. Ivy gave me a hateful look and spoke through gritted teeth. I can't wait any longer. You're smart. I'll let Brother Arlo divorce you sooner. Oh, really? Then you have to convince him quickly. I will thank you for 8 generations. Ivy quickly caught up with Arlo Quin, took his arm in front of me and walked away. I simply typed out another resignation letter and threw it on Arlo Quin's desk. You scumbag. Today is the last time I will help you get a client. From now on you and your mistress can eat shit. Just after I came out of the company, my old classmate Shinfei called me. Shinfei once pursued me in college, but I rejected him because I was dating Arlo Quin. I met Shinfei again at a business cocktail party a month ago. Only then did I know that he went abroad to start a business. After graduating from university, I heard that he was engaged in international trade and was very successful. In recent months, we have begun to develop the domestic market, opened a branch in the country, and temporarily shifted the focus of our business to the domestic market. After that cocktail party, he asked me to have dinner with him, but I declined because I didn't want Arlo Quin to misunderstand anything. But now, I had already planned to divorce Arlo Quin, and there was nothing to worry about, so I agreed to him on the spot. Shinfei specially chose a high-end Western restaurant, and he remembered that my favorite food was not steak or lobster, but just the simplest bread temptation. This touched my heart. I have been married to Arlo Quin for 10 years, but he still doesn't remember that I like this dish. While we were eating, Shinfei kept looking at me warmly, and I deliberately avoided his overly scorching gaze. I heard that you and Arlo Quin are getting divorced. I'd like to ask if you can consider me after you divorce him. My hand holding the fork paused for a moment. I didn't expect that 10 years of living abroad had made Shinfei bolder. I remember that he was a young and shy boy in college, and he would blush even when talking to me. If he had been bolder back then, the person walking with me might not have been Arlo Quin. I looked at Shinfei with a smile. I also heard that you have been single abroad, but please don't tell me that you did it for me. If I tell you it's true, you won't believe it. I shook my head. Of course I don't believe it. You are so outstanding. How could there be no woman around you? It's half true, because there are too few compatriots as outstanding as you abroad. Although there are many beauties abroad, few of them meet the aesthetic standards of our people. In this regard, I am still a relatively traditional man. When Shinfei said that, I believed him. I was just about to pick up my glass and clink it with his. Suddenly, a big hand reached out, grabbed my wine glass, and poured it all over my face. I wiped the red wine off my face, and just as I saw that it was Arlo Quin, he slapped me in the face. No wonder you're in such a hurry to divorce me. It turns out you're hooking up with your ex-lover. Shinfei, who was standing by, was quick-witted and caught Arlo Quin's slap in the face, shouting coldly, Arlo Quin, you are crazy. How can you say such rude things when I am having dinner with my old classmate Saoirse Lin? Arlo Quin hard, causing him to stagger, and then he considerately handed me a tissue. Ivy, who was following behind Arlo Quin, screamed and hurried over to help him. Brother Arlo, are you okay? Afterwards, she looked at me with disdain and spoke sarcastically. Oh, I thought Vice President Lin was a chaste woman, but she hooked up with another man before she even divorced Brother Arlo. You still want Brother Arlo to leave the house with nothing? I think you should be the one to leave the house with nothing. Right. I wiped my hands slowly. Hooking up with men. Ivy, I don't have as much experience as you do. After all, you have been hooking up with my husband right under my nose for 9 years. For example, what were you doing in the restaurant with my husband this time? Ivy's face turned pale and red at what I said, and suddenly she sneered at me. Don't be so proud. Soon you won't be able to laugh anymore. By then, the company and Brother Arlo will all be mine. I was stunned. What do you mean? Ivy suddenly took out her cell phone and opened an email interface. What do I mean? Look for yourself. Just now, I received a security alert from the technical department, saying that someone used this email to send a large amount of customer information and data reports and other information involving commercial secrets to our competitor Fifan Technology. The sender's email address Linshan163, com is yours, and the recipient's email address Shinfeihu, com is Shinfei's. This is the ironclad evidence that you leaked the company's trade secrets to your competitors. Ivy's aggressive look made me feel a little funny. I had encountered these shabby tricks 10 years ago, but I didn't expect that she would use them to frame me as if she were so smart. Ivy, Do you know that the IP address of the sender can be checked in the background? I can find out if it's mine. You think I leaked the company's trade secrets, right? Go ahead and sue me. Put me in jail. Stop scaring me here. Ivy's eyes rolled around and she immediately felt guilty, but Arlo Quin protected her and said to me, Saoirse Lin, I will send someone to investigate. If it is found that you leaked the company's secrets, I will never forgive you. Also, you want to divorce me, right? Then be sincere. You were the one who cheated first, so you should be the one to leave the house with nothing. I looked at the faces of Arlo Quin and Ivy, the scumbag and bitch, and suddenly I understood why they could be together. It turns out that the two of them have similar tastes and are of the same kind. At this time, Shen Fei, who had been watching everything coldly, was also amused by anger. I never expected that. After 10 years, I invited my old classmates to dinner, and was suddenly listed as the object of illegal malicious competition. Arlo Quin glared at Shen Fei with hostility. I'm warning you, as long as Saoirse Lin and I are not divorced, your affair with her will be considered cheating. So you've been with Ivy for 9 years, which means you've been cheating on her for 9 years. That's amazing. Gave Arlo Quin a thumbs up with sarcasm in his eyes. Arlo Quin pulled Ivy out with a sullen face. Shen Fei looked at me sympathetically. I finally understand why you insist on getting a divorce. This guy named Qin is not even worthy of carrying your shoes. I looked at Shen Fei very apologetically. I'm really sorry. I wanted to have dinner with you and reminisce about the past. I'm sorry to have embarrassed you. After coming out of the restaurant, I immediately called Wang Juncheng, the director of the technical department, and asked him to check the sending time and IP address of the email, because I asked him to shut down the company email permissions after I submitted my resignation report in the morning, so it couldn't have been sent by me. A few minutes later, Wang Juncheng called me and said that the message was sent an hour ago, and the IP address was indeed my computer, but at that time, Shen Fei, Ivy, and Arlo Quin were all having dinner at the Maple Leaf restaurant, so it was even more impossible that I send it. Wang Juncheng immediately helped me retrieve the company's surveillance footage, and found that the footage from that period had actually been deleted. After all, he was a technical expert, and he used technical means to recover it immediately. He saw that it was a boy named Wang Jianping from the technical department, who secretly used my computer to unlock the power on password and send it. Wang Juncheng took the evidence to question Wang Jianping on the spot, and Wang Jianping admitted it directly, saying that it was the boss's pet who asked him to do it, and he dared not disobey. Wang Juncheng sent me the video that Wang Jianping recorded, when he confessed on the spot. I was the one who directly recruited Wang Juncheng to the company back then. I guess Ivy didn't expect that he was my man. It's such a simple matter, yet you still want to use it to blackmail me. How childish. Suddenly I didn't have to go to work, and I felt more relaxed than ever before. In the afternoon, I made an appointment with my best friend Zhang Fan to go shopping. Zhang Fan and I spent the whole afternoon shopping, and when we were about to go out for dinner, we saw Ivy in a famous watch store. However, this is not the main point. The key point is that the person Ivy is holding is not Arlo Quin, but a boy who looks to be only in his 20s. At first I thought this was Ivy's brother or relative or something, but when I saw that she not only bought the boy a watch worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, but also hooked her arms around the boy's neck and called him little hubby, my eyes widened. Zhang Fan's eyes were also as big as copper bells. Oh my god, your husband's mistress has another mistress. This is outrageous. After they bought the watch, Ivy drove away with the boy in a BMW. Zhang Fan was so anxious that he stamped his feet. What are you still standing there for? Hurry up and catch them. Only then did I react and quickly took a taxi to follow her. After a while, Ivy parked the car in front of a high-end hotel. After seeing them check into a room and go upstairs, Zhang Fan and I immediately pretended to be Ivy's friends and asked the front desk for a room next door. The hotel has poor soundproofing. As soon as Zhang Fan and I entered the door, indescribable noises came from next door. Zhang Fan and I smiled at each other, our eyes filled with unconcealable excitement. I'll kick the door. You turn on the video and let that idiot Arlo Qin see how her lover spends his money. Zhang Fan was a tall and strong man, and he kicked the door next door open with a bang. I held my phone close to the situation and just happened to capture the scene of Ivy and the boy tumbling around. When the boy saw someone breaking in, he was so scared that he collapsed on the spot and rolled under the bed. Ivy also screamed, pulled the quilt over her, and looked at me with horror in her eyes. Saoirse Lin, why are you here? Well, I'm here to catch you cheating. To see how you're using my husband's money to support your gigolo. Ivy was immediately frightened and quickly raised her hand to cover the camera. No. Stop recording, Sister Saoirse Lin. I beg you not to tell Brother Arlo. Otherwise everything will be over. The evidence had been obtained, and I didn't want the trouble of the hotel finding out later, so I followed Zhang Fan out of the hotel in satisfaction. Zhang Fan was so excited that he almost started moving. I never thought that I would be able to catch an adulterer in my lifetime. How exciting. Zhang Fan and I had another big meal and opened a bottle of expensive red wine. Then we went home very satisfied. As soon as I entered the door, I saw Arlo Quin sitting in the living room with a sullen face waiting for me. A new divorce agreement was thrown in front of me. Don't you want a divorce? I'll let you go if you leave the house with nothing. Arlo Quin, if you have a conscience, you won't be so shameless. I was the one who invested in this company, and I own the majority of the shares. This villa was also bought with the company's money, not to mention that you cheated first. Arlo Quin frowned and glanced at me impatiently. If you're in a hurry to get a divorce, just sign it. I don't care anyway. Arlo Quin looks like he's making false accusations, because whether I divorce him or not, it won't stop him from fooling around with Ivy. I sneered. You went home alone today. Didn't your mistress accompany you? She is not feeling well and has asked for leave to go home early today. And Saoirse Lin, stop calling Ivy a mistress all the time. She is my first love. And you, the latecomer, are the mistress. I raised my eyebrows. Oh yeah, I have something good to show you. Arlo Quin moved aside the sofa in disgust. It's already this late. What tricks are you still planning to play? If you want me to leave with nothing, you better stop dreaming. Arlo Quin, I don't care about the company or your little fortune at all. I just can't swallow this breath. I sent him the evidence that Wang Junqing had found on my phone showing Ivy sending fake leaked documents using my email address, as well as the video of Ivy and the gigolo going shopping and checking into a hotel at night. Arlo Quin lost his composure immediately and glared at me, with rapid breathing and yelled, Impossible. This is impossible. Ivy is a simple-minded person. She would never do such a thing. Fake. You deliberately made fake evidence and fake videos to frame Ivy. I will sue you. I laughed. Whether it is true or not, the court will make the final decision when we file for divorce. Arlo Quin forced himself to suppress his excitement and glared at me, with gritted teeth. Are you planning to take this to court and embarrass yourself? Well, what else? Didn't you say that I was faking it? And I refused to leave the house. If you are not in a hurry, I am not in a hurry either. After all, I am not like you, who is urged by the mistress to become a regular employee. You have no evidence to frame me for cheating with Shenfei. Now Arlo Quin was like a deflated ball, unable to stand up at all. Isn't it just leaving the house with nothing? As long as you don't take it to court, I'll agree to it. I just don't believe it. I started from scratch 10 years ago and was able to achieve the current scale. I can't do it again. After saying that, Arlo Quin took out the divorce agreement that I had originally drafted from her bag and signed her name directly on it. I felt relieved and finally breathed a sigh of relief. Oh, and remember to return all the money you spent on your mistress. I'd like to kindly remind you to check Ivy's account. Maybe she has kept some surprises for you. 10 years have passed, and Arlo Quin has become so arrogant that he even forgot why he was able to succeed in his business. Originally, I agreed to let him stay for another month during the divorce cooling off period, and also gave him time to find another place to live. But he was sarcastic and said that he didn't need my pity. He packed up a few clothes and moved out early the next morning. A month later, the divorce cooling off period ended and I made an appointment to go through the divorce process with Arlo Quin. But after waiting for more than an hour, he still didn't show up and he didn't answer the phone, so I had no choice but to go back to work. Arlo Quin left with nothing. The company came under my control and I changed the name to Saoirse Lin Technology. Arlo Quin raised another investment and started a new company called Arlo Technology. They are still engaged in e-commerce business, and even poached many people from my company with high salaries, but it has little impact on the company's business. The core employees that I promoted at the beginning were still there, and I quickly stabilized the situation. However, I heard that Arlo Quin's new company was not going well. When the clients heard that he was the daughter of the Lin Group, who betrayed him, no one dared to cooperate with him. After 1 month of opening, he didn't get a single order. Ivy's story was also quite interesting. On the night I caught her cheating, she absconded to another place and disappeared without a trace. In just 1 month, Arlo Quin lost both money and everything, and was completely reduced to the same state it was 10 years ago. I was just thinking about how that bitch Arlo Quin had stood me up on my divorce when he suddenly called me. Arlo Quin, you are fucking sick. Why didn't you come to get a divorce? I cursed out loud, but to my surprise the other party was silent for a moment, and then spoke indifferently. I'm sorry, Miss Lin. I'm from the Municipal Public Security Bureau. I want to inform you that Arlo Quin was arrested for killing a lover named Ivy out of anger. We found your phone number in his address book. Please come over. Later I found out that Ivy had come back because she had spent all her money and wanted to threaten Arlo Quin to extort more money from him, but they didn't know that he had lost all his money, hadn't started a new company, and had no money left. She bumped into Arlo Quin's gun when he was in a state of panic, and the tragedy happened. Arlo Quin was immediately executed, and I became a widower, so I didn't have to go through the divorce process. After that, my parents called me back to inherit the billions of assets of the Lin Group. Looking back on the past 10 years of marriage, in the end, there was nothing left except betrayal and disappointment, but I am lucky, because many years later, there is still a man who truly loves me waiting for me. A year later, Shenfei and I got married, and we will spend the rest of our lives together.